Hello, everyone. Thanks for attending my presentation. I'm Atsushi Miyaji, a master student from Nara Institute of Science and Technology in Japan. I'll introduce our paper, Analysis on Nursing Care Activity-Related Stress Level for Reduction of Caregiving Workload. In recent years, the rapid aging of the population has become a great issue in Japan. As a result, the demand for nursing homes is increasing, where the shortage of caregivers is becoming more serious. This is a serious problem for nursing homes because it may increase the workload for each caregiver. In order to reduce the workload of caregivers, we have been developing a platform for easy correction of caregiver activity. This development has been shown to contribute to a dramatic reduction in terms of time required to create nursing care records. However, in the process of this work, a question arose. Isn't the stress of caregivers having a significant impact on operational efficiency? Therefore, we focused on the stress of caregivers and tried to obtain new knowledge for reducing their workload. If this stress can be estimated, we believe it will lead to review of caregivers' own work styles, to review of work plans, and to encourage leave for refreshment, etc. So here, I will introduce some existing studies to estimate stress. One of the simplest methods to use a questionnaire. The Brief Job Stress Questionnaire and the WHO QOL-100 are often used to assess mental health and QOL. But the upper one contains 54 questions, and the lower one has even more, about 100 questionnaires. As a result, the number of questionnaires is too large, so the burden on respondents is too heavy to answer them every day. Therefore, some methods to estimate stress using sensing devices have been proposed in recent years. However, these methods do not show stress of each activity and cannot estimate how much stress is produced depending on a particular activity. As a first step, we'll visualize and analyze the relationship between a caregiving activity and stress state using a device to estimate stress by activity. Now, I will explain the objective stress indicators obtained from the device. HRV is one of the most common indices. HRV calculated from the periodically fluctuating heart rate variability. This heart rate interval is called RRI. One method to estimate stress using this RRI is the Lorentz plot. The Lorentz plot is a two-dimensional orthogonal plot of the RRI at one time and the RRI at the next time to represent the fluctuation of the heartbeat. The area is calculated from the variation of the plotted ellipse. When the area is small, the parasympathetic nerves become more active than the sympathetic nerves, resulting in a state of stress. On the other hand, the area is large, the sympathetic nerves become more active than the parasympathetic nerves, resulting in a state of relaxation. Also, the RF-HF radio, which is obtained by converting the RRI into a Pulse spectrum by frequency analysis, is also used as a stress indicator. This can be obtained by dividing the Pulse spectrum into a large low frequency region, LF, and a high frequency region, HF. LF increases during sympathetic activation, so the RF-HF radio is higher during stressful states, while HF increases during parasympathetic activation, so the RF-HF radio is lower during relaxed states. Next is the questionnaire indicator indices used to subjectively evaluate the level of stress actually felt. Typical example work engagement and downs. Work engagement is a measure of how much people are enthusiastic about their work, and downs is a measure of mood such as positivity, depression, and anxiety. In practice, we plan to measure changes of stress by administering the survey before work, during lunch breaks, and after work. In order to measure stress using these indices, we conducted an experiment at Rare Nursing Home. The experiment was conducted from November 20 to November 30, and data was collected for a total of 10 days. The data were collected from 5 caregivers working at Ikono IE 26 in Nara, Japan. In the experiment, we asked the participants to answer a questionnaire before the experiment began. This questionnaire is about status such as gender and years of experience. The caregivers wore a heart rate sensor on their chest before starting the day's work in this study. In this study, we used the WHS3 heart rate sensor. In addition, the caregivers were asked to answer a daily question 3 times in a day, before work, during lunch breaks, and after work. The questionnaire was created based on the work engagement and dams explained in the subjective stress index. The following 5 caregiving activities were included in the study. So I will show you the results of the experiment from here. First is the result of the preliminary questionnaire. The genders of the subject were 1 male and 4 females. Regarding the number of years of experience, one had more than 3 years but less than 5 years, another had more than 5 years but less than 10 years, and the other 3 had more than 10 years. That is, most of them were quite experienced workers. Next is the result of the Downs questionnaire. The indices for depression and anxiety are highest after work, suggesting that the mood got lowered by working. Next is the result of work engagement. The indicators for energy and enthusiasm are lowest after work, also suggesting a decrease of energy by working. As for the overall trend of the psychological data obtained from the experiment, we are not able to collect data from all subjects in this experiment. The reason may be that we did not enforce the wearing of the heart rate sensor and the wearing was insufficient. Eventually, we are able to collect data by 2 caregivers for 6 days in total. The following are the results from those data. There are the box plot of RF-HF radio depending on activity. The figure on the left is the results of one person at ID01, and the right one is the result of another person at ID02. The results show that the RF-HF radio was higher in bed assistance for ID01 and in rehabilitation instruction, bed assistance and toilet assistance for ID02, suggesting that these activities are likely to be stressful. Next, the result of a Lorentz plot based on the RRI obtained from the sensor as shown in this page. The plot results show that the outliers are widely distributed. This may be due to the fact that we could not collect enough sensor data because of the movement of the behavior of the caregiver. This graph shows the area of the Lorentz plot for each activity. This is the result obtained by removing outliers from the plot in the previous slide by quartiles. Note that when the area is small, there is high probability of stress. The activity marked with the star mean those with high HF radio. The results showed that the area of ID01 was smaller in bed assistant and that of ID02 was smaller in rehabilitation instruction and toilet assistant, indicating that the caregivers were more likely to be in a stressed state. These trends were also verified by the RFHF radio. On the other hand, the area of work in the living room and recreational guidance was relatively larger than those of other activity for both subjects. These activities are not one-to-one, but one-to-many, which may mean that the mental load is relatively small. The problem of this experiment was that the amount of data was not enough. Since nearly half of subjects did not wear the sensor and some did not answer the questionnaire, it is difficult to collect data while actually performing nursing care work. Therefore, in order to collect practical data, it is necessary to use a device that does not affect the work and to reconsider the content of the questionnaire. In addition, in nursing care work, differences of work content or services may also exist, and differences in the personality of individual caregivers may also have an impact on their stress level. Based on these issues, we are currently conducting further experiments in another nursing home. Last conclusion. In this study, we visualize and analyze change of caregiving activity and psychological states. As a result of this analysis, it was confirmed from the objective stress index that the caregivers were in a state of stress in some specific caregiving activities. As a future prospect, we will continue to collect data with considering the used devices and questionnaire indicators and aid to construct a stress estimation model based on the obtained data. Okay, that's all. Thank you.